What if I told you that beneath the frozen silence of Antarctica, you are never alone? Not on the ice, not in the water, because something is always there, watching, waiting. Before we go deeper, you need to subscribe right now because what you're about to see, most people can't even watch until the end. And once you understand how these creatures survive, you will never look at the ocean the same way again. Antarctica looks empty, just ice, endless white, silence. But that silence is a lie because under the surface, there is movement, there is life, and it is far more dangerous than you think. Seals, you think you know them, soft, slow, harmless. That's what everyone thinks, and that's why no one is ready for what they really are. The moment you step into Antarctic ice, you could be standing just meters away from one. A Weddell seal. It doesn't move, it barely reacts, it looks almost peaceful. But that calm is deceptive because this animal can disappear into a world you would never survive. Down there, there is no light, no sound, just pressure and darkness that feels alive. And yet, this seal dives deeper than 600 meters, holding its breath for over an hour. Think about that. No oxygen, no escape, just silence and time running out. Its body slows down, the heart barely beats, blood stores oxygen, muscles become reservoirs of survival. It doesn't panic, it adapts. But here's where it becomes terrifying, because sometimes there is no way back. When the ice above freezes completely, the seal is trapped below. No open water, no exit, just a single breathing hole. One. That's all it has. Every day, it must return to that exact spot. And every day, it must keep it open, so it does something almost unbelievable. It chews through solid ice with its teeth again and again and again, because if it stops, even for a moment, the hole seals shut. There is no air. Now imagine this. You're deep under the ice, hundreds of meters down. Everything is black. You swim up, faster, faster. Your lungs are burning, but the hole is gone. Or worse, you can't find it. That's how they die. Not hunted, not attacked, lost, in the dark. And still they return, every single day. Because this is not a choice, this is survival. But not all seals in Antarctica are built to endure. Some are built to hunt. Leopard seals. And this is where everything changes. If you think seals are harmless, you've never seen this one. Fast, silent, precise. It doesn't just hunt fish, it hunts penguins. A penguin enters the water, and instantly, it becomes prey. The leopard seal doesn't rush. It waits, still, invisible, and then it strikes. In a split second, the water explodes. Jaws open, teeth exposed. No warning, no escape. But what makes it worse is what happens next. Because sometimes it doesn't kill immediately. It plays, throwing the penguin through the water again and again until the fight is gone. This is not instinct. This feels like control. And in these waters, it is not even the top predator. Because something else is out there, watching, learning, waiting, orcas. And when they arrive, even the hunters become cautious. Because under the Antarctic ice, no one is truly safe. Not the prey, not even the predators. And yet, life continues. Because in this frozen world, you don't survive by being strong. You survive by becoming something else. The ice doesn't care if you're ready. It doesn't wait. It doesn't forgive. And in Antarctica, life begins in the worst possible conditions. A seal pup is born on ice. No shelter, no protection, just wind, cold, and silence that feels endless. Its first breath burns. The air is so cold it feels like it cuts through the lungs. The body isn't ready, but it has to be. Because here, there is no time to learn slowly. From the very first moment, it is already in danger. The mother stays close, always watching, always alert, because she knows something the pup doesn't. They are not alone, Beneath the ice, something is moving. Leopard seals. They don't patrol randomly. They know exactly where to wait. Near the edges of the ice, near the breathing holes, near the places where young seals will enter the water for the first time. Because that moment is the most dangerous moment of their life. The pup doesn't understand the ocean yet. To it, the water looks calm, quiet, almost inviting. But the moment it slides in, everything changes. Below, there is no mercy. The leopard seal is already there. Still, invisible. It doesn't chase. It calculates. Distance, timing, movement. And then, it attacks. Fast enough that the water doesn't even have time to react. The pup tries to turn. Too slow. A shadow explodes from below, jaws open. And suddenly the silence is gone. The surface breaks, water erupts, and then nothing. Sometimes the ice becomes quiet again, as if nothing ever happened. But not all pups die. Some learn fast. They stay close to the ice. They listen. They feel vibrations in the water. Because in Antarctica, you don't just see danger, you sense it. But even that isn't enough, because there is something worse than being hunted. Being alone. If a pup loses its mother, its chances drop instantly. No protection, no guidance, no knowledge of where to breathe, or how to survive under the ice. And the ocean doesn't give second chances. Some try to find another group, some wander, some never return. But here's the part most people don't realize. Even the mothers are not safe. While protecting their young, they are also being watched. Because when leopard seals are not hunting pups, they look for something bigger. And sometimes they find it. Another seal, injured, distracted, or just unlucky. And the attack is just as fast. No warning, no hesitation, only precision. But even these hunters have something to fear. Because when the water suddenly goes quiet, when everything stops moving, when even the predators hesitate, it means one thing, orcas, and when they arrive, everything changes. The ice is no longer safe. The water is no longer safe. Nothing is. Orcas don't hunt like leopard seals. They don't rush. They plan. They communicate. They surround. They control the environment itself. Sometimes they create waves, strong enough to break seals off floating ice. Imagine standing on what you think is solid ground, and suddenly, the ocean moves against you. The ice tilts. You slide. There's nowhere to go. And below, they are waiting. Perfect timing, perfect coordination. No escape. And this is the reality of Antarctica. From the moment you are born, you are part of the food chain. Every movement matters. Every mistake can be the last. And yet, they survive. Not because it's easy, not because it's safe, but because they adapt, faster than anything trying to kill them. There is a place beneath the Antarctic ice where no human could survive. No sunlight, no sound, just pressure and darkness so deep, it feels alive. And this is where seals go. Not for seconds, not for minutes, for over an hour. A Weddell seal dives and disappears. The surface closes above it, the light fades, and within seconds, it is alone, completely alone. At 100 meters, the last traces of light vanish. At 300 meters, there is nothing left to see. At 600 meters, you are no longer in the world you know. You are in something else, a place where direction loses meaning. Up feels like down, silence becomes pressure. And yet, the seal keeps going. Its heart slows, breathing stops. The body shuts down everything that isn't necessary. This is not just survival, this is transformation. But here's the truth, they don't always come back. Because the deeper they go, the harder it is to return. The lungs burn, the muscles weaken, the mind begins to lose control. And then, panic. Even for a creature built for this, panic is deadly. Because panic wastes oxygen. And under the ice, oxygen is everything. Now imagine this. You've been underwater for almost an hour. Your body is shutting down. Your chest feels like it's collapsing. You swim up. Faster. faster. You know the surface is there, but you can't see it, because above you there is no open water, only ice, endless ice, and somewhere in that ice is a single hole. Miss it, and you die. Not instantly, slowly, running out of oxygen, searching in darkness, getting weaker, until there's nothing left. And the worst part? No one sees it. No one hears it. It just happens. But some seals survive even that, because they remember. They memorize the ice, the shapes, the distances. They navigate in complete darkness, like something not entirely animal, like something else. But even that isn't enough, because sometimes the ice changes. Storms shift it, currents move it, breathing holes disappear, and suddenly everything they knew is gone. This is Antarctica, a place where even experience can't guarantee survival. But here's where it gets worse, because the deep is not empty. There are things down there, creatures that don't need light, creatures that don't need warmth. And sometimes seals don't just dive, they are followed. Shadows move below them, shapes in the dark. You don't see them clearly, but you feel them. And when you feel something in total darkness, moving with you, you are no longer alone. Some seals turn back early, some go deeper. Because in the deep, you either face the unknown or become part of it. And yet, they still dive, every day. Because above the ice, there is hunger. There are predators. There is danger. And below, there is only one thing, a chance to survive just a little longer. In Antarctica, nothing is given. Everything is earned. Every breath is a victory. Every dawn is a risk. Every moment could be the last. Seals don't survive here because they are lucky. They survive because they've become something else, something built for extremes. Their bodies change, their instincts sharpen, their behavior adapts. Generation after generation, they evolve. Not slowly, not gently, but under pressure. Because in this place, weakness doesn't get a second chance, it disappears. The seals that couldn't adapt are gone. The ones that hesitated are gone. The ones that failed, even once, never came back. What remains are the survivors. The ones that learned how to breathe through ice. The ones that learned how to dive into darkness and return. The ones that learned how to feel danger before it arrives. Because in Antarctica, seeing is not enough. You must sense it. You must react before it happens. And even then, it might not be enough. Because above the ice, there is cold, there is hunger, there is exhaustion, and below there is something worse. Predators, leopard seals, orcas, creatures that don't hesitate, creatures that don't miss, creatures that turn survival into a system. And yet, even they are part of something bigger. Because Antarctica is not controlled by any one species. It is controlled by the environment itself. The ice, the cold, the darkness. That is the real force here. That is what decides who lives and who disappears. And seals live right on that edge, between air and water, between light and darkness, between life and something else, every single day. And maybe that's why they seem calm. Not because it's easy, not because they are safe, but because they've accepted it, accepted the risk, accepted the danger, accepted the reality that survival here is never guaranteed. And maybe that's what makes them different. Not stronger, not faster, but adapted to a world most life could never endure. Because under the Antarctic ice, life doesn't just survive. It transforms. You weren't supposed to see this. Not like this. Most people will never stand on Antarctic ice. They will never hear the wind, never feel the cold, never realize what truly lives beneath them. But now you know, you've seen what hides under the surface. Not just animals, not just survival, something deeper. A world that exists without comfort, without safety, without second chances. And yet, it continues. Seals dive again. They return to the dark. They risk everything for one more breath, again and again and again. Not because they want to, because they have to. And maybe that's the part that stays with you. Because in a way, and it's not just about them, it's about survival itself. What happens when the world gives you nothing, no warmth, no protection, no guarantees? Do you stop or do you adapt? Because under the Antarctic ice, there is no room for hesitation, only action, only instinct, only movement forward. And that's why even the smallest mistake has a cost. A missed breathing hole, a second too slow, a wrong direction in the dark. That's all it takes, and everything ends. Silently, but the ones that survive carry something different. Experience, instinct, memory. They become better, sharper, more aware, not stronger, but harder to break. And that's the truth about Antarctica. It doesn't create life. It tests it over and over and over again, until only those who can endure remain. And now, when you think about the ocean, you'll know that beneath the calm surface, there is always something more, something watching, something waiting, something that has already adapted to a world you were never meant to enter. Before you leave, subscribe to the channel, because this was just one story from a place full of them. And the deeper we go, the darker it gets.